Hello everyone, this is Debbie from Ink and Page, and I'm here today with a new project for our November Giftables series. What you see in front of me is what we've already made, which is our explosion box from week 1. And I have our cards that we made in week 2. So we have our little wallet card, we have our gatefold card here. We also have our box of cards here. So we did a lot last week, we were busy. So we have all of that, and this week I have for you guys a new project, and that is a photo album. So if you are new and you would like to join on this project, you can get all of the printables for the last 2 weeks, as well as this week and the ones upcoming in the future, if you just go down in the description below and sign up. And you'll also get to participate in the 12 Days of Winter Wonder, which is fast approaching, and that's going to be the first 12 days of December. We are going to make a surprise project. If you need a little hint, I will link last year's project in the description below. It will not be the same project. It's going to be completely different, but it will be similar in nature, of course, because I am a junk journal channel. So that will be upcoming starting on December 1st, and every single day of the first 12 days of December, you are going to get a new freebie pack, and that project will have a video that will also come out on that same day. And on top of that, there will be I believe two bonus projects after the 12 days. That I will release as like regular Monday freebies. Okay, so I will definitely be putting a bit more information about this out as it gets a little bit closer. I still have to wrap up this whole situation for November. So once I get that done, I'll start, putting out the little schedule for the 12 days that are coming up. I just wanted to mention that in case you're new to my channel, in case you don't know about it. This November was all about making giftable items for other people, and the 12 days is going to be about making giftable items for yourself, or a giftable item for yourself, as I should say. So, all that said, I think we can, let me just give you a quick peek at what I made for this week, because many of you guys have been asking to see pictures of Pickle. So I thought, why not make a Pickle photo album for this project? So Mr. Pickle is featured here in my photo album here. This is his little puppy pics. And these are as he's growing up. That's a Halloween. We have a lot of Halloween pictures because my daughter loves to dress the dogs up. This is his Pickle thinks I'm a person photo there. He definitely thinks he is a human. There's dressed as a taco. So just some fun pictures of Pickle to demonstrate the photo album that we're going to be making this week. So I hope I covered everything. If I didn't, I'll put it on the screen, and we will take a look into the printables next. All right, let's take a quick look at the printables included in this kit. For this project, you have a choice of 2 covers, or 2 pre-prepared covers. There's this one here, which is this kind of like damask one here. And then I have this like candle one as well. So you can choose between those 2, or if you prefer, you could use one of the background papers, which I'm about to show you. So you could either print them on the back of this page, or you could just use this as a template. Okay. Now, these are the interior panels that go on the inside of your photo album, and I just put, fussy cuts in all of the empty spaces. They're pretty similar, so, just depending on which cover you print, you get, a different fussy cut there. Okay, this is the spine, the interior spine template. There's an exterior spine template on each page here. Right, and then we are going to hop into your page options. Okay, so there's 6 total different page options here. For mine, I just printed one of every one. I kind of like it when it's a little bit chaotic, but you may not want it to be as chaotic. So you could print one of these 3 times. You could print each one of them once. You could print, you know, in whatever combination you want. You know, if you want 2 of this one and 1 of this one, you know, however you want to do it. Or if you're making multiple of these, then you could just print these out a whole bunch of times and just kind of let your muse be your guide, so to speak. But yeah, I thought it'd be fun to have, you know, all different ones. And then also there is a template in here for the pages. This is similar to the Wraithwood album. So if you did that, you've got a head start on how this goes together. The sizing is slightly different, but it's basically the same process. So we've already done this, so hopefully that will make this whole assembly a lot easier for everybody. This will be a little bit different, but the basics are the same. Okay, so we also have a bunch of different frame options, okay? And I used vintage frames as the template for the shapes, but I, you know, obviously put different decor on the frames. So that's why if you see them, if you notice that they're a little bit irregular or something like that, that would be the reason for that. But I think it gives it extra character to use a real frame rather than, you know, just you know, cutting holes in squares, if that makes sense. So anyway, so there's a bunch of different options for frames. If you want to put a frame on every page, you're going to need 12 total. There's more than that included in here. These are they're kind of crazy. I did not use these for mine only because of the pictures that I had were not going to fit in here. But I did think that if you were either not going to put pictures or you wanted to do something a little bit more creative, that you could use these to put either little tiny pictures. You could I was thinking maybe cute little stamped holiday symbols is not the right word, but it's the one that's coming to my head right now. But a little tree or a candy cane or something like that. If you wanted to do little pictures, these would be really cute for that. Or if you have some tiny pictures. Here's another set here. I really had a fun time making the frames, if you can't tell. I had so many just beautiful options. So I did make quite a few of those. Okay, and then I made fussy cuts for this as well. So there's these bigger ones. And then on this page here, there are smaller ones. And we do have quite a number of other fussy cuts from the 2 previous kits. So I figured we could incorporate those as well. And so, you know, just depending on what kind of fussy cut you want, if you want them even smaller, you could print them 2 to a page as well. Okay, so now this brings us to the papers. I thought for some of these, I feel like these are kind of cute wrapping paper patterns, vintagey, kind of grungy wrapping paper patterns. I thought they'd be really, really fun in this kit. This is just I have some, I'm gonna swoop out these ones here. This one too, I think this is a cool wrapping paper pattern, and then some berries, and then I have the polka dots too as well. And then I also have 3, let's see, I also have one more of these. This is the flowers one there. But I also have 3 plain papers. Now these are all leather texture papers. So these would also make good covers if you wanted to do a cover that was not illustrated. If you wanted to have just a nice plain cover and then you could just decorate it on the front however you would like, these would be good options for that as well. So I thought I would include these in here just as kind of neutral potential you know, covers or backgrounds or whatever. You could make your pages out of these too if you wanted. So, you know, just a lot of options here in terms of what you have to work with to make your to make your photo album. Okay, so, all right, so that is all of the papers. So now we can actually get into making it. Okay, I'm going to get my pieces and parts out here for this little project. And one of the things that I wanted to mention before we just jump into the creation part of it is that, okay, so this is what always happens to me. I got a little ahead in my workflow this week, so I was done early with the ephemera. So, of course, what did I do? I'm like, oh, I have so much time to mess around. I'm going to die cut a bunch of shapes out, and I'm going to do all this stuff. So I did do all this stuff. I did cut out some, like, winter foliage in this glitter cardstock here, which I got in an Anagraphin mystery box. And I was like, what am I going to do with this? And then all of a sudden I was like, this is what I'm going to do with it. So I got the mystery box had glitter cardstock in it. And by the way, she has this like mystery box that goes out every single month, and it's like $40, and it is the best crafting deal like ever. It's the only like it's like my only like sub box weakness. I have to have that. That's the one I have to have. So anyway, she sends paper and all kinds of stuff in it. Amazing dies. So anyway, I love having that, and because I wouldn't necessarily buy this cardstock, but I think it's going to be fun to play with in this particular kit. So that's where I got that. And then I accidentally printed out a whole, like, one of the papers, I printed it out more than once. So I just used the second paper to die cut shapes out of. So I use this here. I'll show you the dies that I used for this here. Okay, so I use this one here, which is, this is the Wildflowers one. And I just used basically this one, and I think this one out of that, just these two dies. I really love the shape of this one, so I use that. This is the Holiday Greens, and all these are Tim Holtz, and this is Adorned. So these are the ones I used to cut out, and these are the ones I happen to have, which is why I use them. So I would just, if you have anything and you want to add it in, you know, that would be great. If not, there's plenty of stuff in the kit. I just wanted to have a little bit of extra fun because I had a little bit of extra time on my hands. So I just basically, whatever, like, I had a bunch of random scrap paper over there as well in this green color, so by the die cut machine, and so I just cut a bunch of stuff out, and I'm just going to see what happens. So that's what this stuff is, and I have kind of a pile of it because I was listening to an audiobook and got carried away. So I did cut a lot out of it, but this was just the extra paper that I had too. And then there's just a ton of fussy cuts for this one too. And oh, I also used this punch to make this like punched border here. I don't know if I'm going to use it. It's a lot, I admit it. But I just thought I would mention it. And then I used this one here as well to make a border out of that extra paper I printed too many of. I'm not sure if I like it, but we'll see what happens. Alrighty, so I also took the opportunity to sew around some of my frames. Because, you know, like I said, I had the extra time, so I figured why not use it up, right? So if I'm behind again next week, you're good. This is why, because it's just fun, you know? So, I got into the weeds with just adding stuff to my frames, but basically all I did was, some of them are plain like this, you can see, so we'll go ahead and decorate them with this stuff over here. And then other ones, I sewed some, trim to them. I sewed some lace to this one. Some of them I just sewed around them. You know, like right here, this one here, just like that, just a little bit of sewing. I just thought it would be fun. If you don't have a sewing machine, no worries, just use thread, and you can just glue the thread onto here if you want that look. I'm going to totally glue thread on here for this, so you know, you don't need to have a sewing machine to include the thread into your project. You could just use the glue. It's just fun if you have one. And like, it's fun until it jams. Let's basically put it like that, right? Okay, so let's get into what we're going to do now. Is we're going to build the actual structure of the album. So I'm going to put my frames over here with my fussy cuts really quickly. And then basically what you need are whatever you choose for your cover. I am choosing the damask cover. And these are my interior panels. And then these are all my pages. And like I said before, what I did was I picked, those are the backside, FYI. I picked one of each page that's included in the kit, okay? And then all you need to do with these guys is fold them in half, okay? So I'm going to do that really quickly right now, and then we are going to get started on assembling our album. All right, so we're going to start with this piece here, which is the interior spine piece. Okay, so, and this needs to be scored between every single color here. Okay, so that's a lot of score lines, and I know they're close together, but they're going to all accordion together, and they're going to form the spine for our photo album. Okay, so what we're going to do here is we're going to glue the two solid green ones together all the way across here. Okay, so we're going to start by flipping this guy over, and I'm going to start by putting glue in right here. If you use a quick, like this, this is art glitter glue that's in my glue press right now, and I noticed that this is a really good glue for this particular process because it like sticks immediately. There's no messing around there. Like, so you don't have to worry about it. I think I can't remember what I used when we made the Wraithwood album, but I don't know. This is working great. For this, it worked really great on my prototype. You know, because it allows you to have these, like, I think on my Wraithwood album, I clipped everything, and that was just so cumbersome. But this just like grabs immediately, and now it's glued. So that's really so I would definitely recommend some type of PVA glue for this process right here. I may have used Fabri-Tac before, and that just doesn't grab fast enough for this particular project. Although if you wanted to use it, you could. You just have to like clip it or hold it longer. All right, so this is what you're doing, is you're kind of making these little spines stick up here. And I got two left to do here. It starts to form like a new flat piece back there when you'll start to see it happen. Push that up. And then grab that and just give it a good press so that everything sticks together nicely. There we go. And then we'll do the last one. This one's going to go together pretty fast, so you can have most of the fun decorating it. Okay. And then also, like, if you wanted to make more than one of these, you could just, like, you know, compartmentalize it, sorry, and just make like 2 spines or 3 spines at a time, and then you just be able to pop everything together after that, because this is like probably the most time-consuming part. here. Okay, now this piece right here, because now you see how you've got kind of like a new flat spine right here with all the everything's folded and all set in there. That's gonna go in here. Okay, so the way it happens is it's gonna cradle in there, but before I do that, we're gonna put on we're gonna add our cover pieces to the cover. Okay, now there's two ways that you can do this, so let me grab my cover pieces here. These are the two outside cover pieces that I'm going to use. Okay, so now you could glue them like this if you want, okay? Because especially if you're using the candle one, you may want to have the whole image and not have the have this part going over it. I love having that little bit of, which is basically why I picked the damask cover, is because I like having it look like this. I think it looks like an old book, so that's my personal preference, and so that's why I'm going to do mine like that. But please feel free to do whatever you want, this way or this way, okay? Just depending on how you want yours to look, and if, you know, you don't want to have the green on your front cover. Or, like I said, you could, you know, print this as a template and just do any, oops, there we go, any paper from the kit for your cover or for your spine. Okay, so I'm just gonna glue that right up to the edge there, just not over it. Okay, I always ink mine on the back so you can see exactly what I'm doing there. And then just make sure that everything's even. For this one, you really don't need to print anything on the back. You can just print everything on the front because everything's getting glued together. So there's not really going to be a, you know, you're not going to be able to see the backs of anything once we're done. So the paper I used was just the 110 Hammermill cardstock that I always use. And that's it. And then for some of these, I did print on the back of them, but that was probably excessive. I probably could have gotten away with not doing it at all. So just so you know, for your edification, so you don't have to worry about that. It just makes everything go a lot faster too, right? When you're printing, if you don't have to print on both sides. Okay, so I'm going to put this one in here, and again, I'm just going to go right up to the fold, but not over it. And I just want to kind of make sure that I've got this centered on here. You can always trim it if it's not perfect, so don't worry too much, but, you know, just so you have everything lined up really well. And then once you have it all set how you want it, just put a little pressure on it, and that will help it, you know, it helps the paper and the glue and everything become one. So there we go. We've got that there. Okay, now this piece is going to go in here, and it's an accordion, so you kind of are gonna have to push it a little bit to make sure that it fits into the little crevice of the spine and doesn't go outside of it. It'll fit. You just got to give it some, you might have to give it some encouragement depending on how tight you glued it, but because it will accordion in on itself a little bit, so like it'll naturally expand is my point, I guess. So make sure you have it in nice and tight when you do it. Okay, so basically I think I'm gonna go with the Fabri-Tac for this so that I have like a few extra seconds to go ahead and do my glue. Okay. Fabri-Tac is very thick right now. It needs to be thinned a little bit. But I think it's a good, like I said, the reason I'm using it is just because I want that extra few minutes to kind of make sure everything is exactly where I want it to be. So basically, the easiest way to do this is make sure that this fold is lining up with the fold of the cover that we just glued, okay? So you want to make sure that as long as this fits in between on this part right here, the spine here, you're good to go. And it's not too hard. It's, you know, it's not hard. It'll fit. But you just make sure you got it centered. Make sure your like pages like will close, you know, before you let your glue dry. You just want to make sure that everything hinges okay, everything's in the right spot. Like, I needed extra glue there because I didn't put my glue close enough to the edge. And then what I'll do is, now that I know I have everything the way that I want it and it fits in there, I will go ahead and glue my flaps down here. And I'm just going to go ahead and use the white glue for that because I want these to go down immediately. And just a little pressure to get everything bonded together there. And then we're going to do the same thing over on this side. Here we go. Okay, and now that that part is done, we are going to go ahead and always do your, redo your, like, folds after you glued like this, especially if you pressed down on it to flatten it out so that it, you know, maintains its shape. Okay, so there's my spine. Okay, so now our next thing is going to be to add our end papers in on here, just like so. And that's how that's going to go. And so we're going to do that on both sides. And again, make sure that you're going up to, but not over the edge, okay? So that your book will still bend. I'm super good at gluing things on upside down, so I always have to like triple check. Here, okay, I'm gonna get everything kind of lined up. I just don't want this. It can go in a little bit more. Okay, I was being overly cautious there. I just didn't want it to go over the bend. You know what I mean? Because then it makes it hard to open and close your album. Okay, that's good. And then if it goes over, because like I can see mine's just over just a tad bit right there, you just trim that, because it's better to have to trim this than it is for it to go over the bend in the spine. Okay. All right, so let's do this side now. And pretty soon we are going to have ourselves a book. I hope I'm not going to run out of... Ooh. Oh my goodness gracious. Look at me. Making a mess. Okay. Alright. I should probably still put this over here. I know my glue is really low in here. Okay. Make sure I got everything the right way here. You could also use glue stick for this part. I do find that glue sticks, like, they do have a little bit of forgiveness when it comes to gluing stuff like this. So they can be a really good choice. All right. And look at that. I mean, it's amazing, like, how you can just transform something so instantaneously, right? That did not look great. Now it looks so much better. All right, I'm going to get my scissors and do my little trimming Oops, I don't know where my big scissors are. I like to use the big scissors. Right, I'm just going to go along this edge here and kind of try to trim this white bit off. There we go. I'm going to do the same thing here. It's pretty slender over here. The other thing that I'm probably going to do here is once this glue dries, I'm going to just slightly rough up the edges with the paper distresser, which is this little tool here. Or you can use the edge of scissors. I feel like I'm always tempting fate when I use the edge of scissors because I'm super good at cutting myself. So I've been trying to use the paper distresser more because that's what it's for. So yeah, so I'll do that when this is just a little bit more dry. And then the next thing that we're going to do is we're just going to lay this flat open and we're going to put our pages into the book by just gluing them onto the little spine pieces here. I don't know exactly what we were calling these things, but all right, so what I'm going to do for this part is I am going to use a glue stick and I'm just going to glue this together, which is why I said before, like, you really didn't need to I didn't need to print on the back of these. Sometimes when I'm printing, I want to leave my options like really wide open, which is what I did here. But I don't think you need to, since we're going to glue everything together, unless you want to leave these open, you know, and just glue around the edges and use them as pockets. So those are kind of the options there. Okay, so I'm going to use the glue stick here, and I'm just going to go over the entire thing to the best of my ability, and I'm just going to glue this guy down. And I'm going to run extra glue here along the edges, but it should be fine. Okay, so now this piece right here, and I'm just going to glue it right on here, and then I'm going to press these guys together. Just make sure you're pressing it into the little spine piece so that everything actually gets, you know, stuck together, because you want to make sure that it adheres. I'm also going to press down on it, just like on the page, so the page sticks together, because I just want my pages to be solid for this one. Okay, so now what I'm going to do, all right, so you can kind of decide, I mean, these are a little bit busy, huh? I think I'm going to go wood next for this one. I'm just going to glue this down. I'm probably going to need a second glue stick here. And then just around the edges on this side. And then we're just going to press it in to the second one. And all the way down with that. And then just try to make sure you got everything centered up nicely. And then you can just put a little pressure on it. Now we're going to do our next one, which is going to be and I'm just going to go around the edge again. This part's probably getting pretty boring. Okay, next one. And then I'm just going to go next page. Alright, and I'm just going to do the little pressure here. Alright, and then we got our next one here, which I think I want to be this one. That one's going to go on this one here. I have to switch glue sticks here because my Scotch one there ran out. So this one's actually easier to use because it covers more area as well. Just depending on the job. If you're doing a full page, you definitely won't. Like, these big ones are really helpful. Okay, so let's do this guy here to the next one. Just make sure you're pushing it all the way down so it's like the actual edge of the page is contacting the back of the spine there. Okay, so let's go on to the next one here. I'm going to do the same thing with the glue. Just right up to the edge there. And then I'm going to do the same thing on this side. Okay. And then this goes right in here. We're almost done. Yikes. And just make sure it's hitting the back when you're putting it on. Okay, and then the last one, which is actually going to be my first one. which is perfect because this is one of my favorites. Okay, yeah, because that's the front, that's the back. Okay. All right, so glue this one again, same way. Okay. Pop this guy on the last one here. I don't think I inked this page, so I might have to go back and do that. Let me just make sure I got all my pages kind of lined up. We're going to put a bunch of stuff on these pages, so it's not going to be super important, but, you know, you just want them generally lined up as best as you can. And then just make sure you put pressure down there and we'll be good to go. So I'm going to set this aside for a second and just kind of let all this glue dry. And then we're going to work on our frames next. And then we'll put our frames in our book. All right, so this guy's going to go off to the side here for just a second and do the drying thing. And then let's get out our frames and kind of decide what we're going to do here. Okay, so as I mentioned before, I thought this would be a super fun way to introduce you guys to Pickle, provider of the ASMR snoring in the background. I don't think he's doing it right now, but anyway. So what I did is I printed out a bunch of pictures of him, and I'm going to put them all in this this photo album. So there's some of him when he was a puppy, and that was kind of more when he was a teenager, and this is more him now. He's a pudgy little fellow. Halloween, this is a baby picture. So another Halloween. My daughter really likes to dress the dogs up for Halloween, so he was a taco. All right. And okay, so what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna take these guys and I'm going to kind of put them in the frames. If they don't fit, I'm gonna mat them. Okay, so like this one is way too big for this picture. The thing is I wanted to print them out, and I printed them all out wallet sized on my computer. So they're all kind of the same size. So what I'm gonna do is some of these like are smaller, so they'll be good match, you know, those will be good matches. And for the bigger ones, I'll just mat them. So if you, just depending on what size photos you have or what size photos you printed out, because 4x6 was way too big, so I just printed out the next, whatever the next size down I think was, which was this. So okay, so what I'm gonna do here is get I'm actually gonna, let me just assign some of these really quickly to frames, and then this one's really cute. I'll figure out which ones I want to do on which frames here. Okay, so I'm going to show you really quickly how I'm going to make a template to make the mat for my frame. So you could do this like one of two ways. You could put the frame together like this and then just layer the picture on top if that's what you want to do. Or you could cut a hole in this, which is what I'm going to do because I just, you know, that's actually like extra fun. So basically what I did here is I have the picture. I cut out a piece of scrap paper that is the same size as the picture. Okay. But what I'm going to do now is trim off a little bit of extra off of this so that the hole is smaller than my picture so that, you know, it doesn't stick out. So I'm just going to cut a little bit off of each one. I'm going to cut a little bit off of each side here. And I'm not going to measure that. You could if you wanted to. And then I'm just going to take it and put it on here and see how I feel about it. It's pretty good. It gives me enough of an edge around it here so that the picture will be behind the mat, okay? So then I just have to take this on here and decide where I want it. I'm going to flip this over so it's on the back because I don't want to make the lines on the front here. I'm just going to kind of get this in the center of here, and then I'm just going to draw lines around it and cut it out. And it should be pretty easy. If you had a die, you could do this with a die too. But, you know, I didn't want to overcomplicate things. Okay, so now I'm going to take this and I'm just going to cut that out. Hopefully my ruler here will help me kind of compensate for if my lines aren't exactly straight, you know. I'm just going to go around the whole thing. Okay. Okay, so where's my frame? All right, so here's my picture. And then my frame goes on top of this. And what I'm going to do here is, this piece is the like pretty much the same size as the actual frame, so I'm just going to cut it down so that it doesn't show. I hope this isn't too complicated. I mean, I could have made this a lot simpler if I just printed the pictures the right size. So just remember that, like, but you know, I figure I'll show you guys this so that just in case you end up in the same situation as me where you didn't, you know, your pictures are not the right size and you've already printed them and you just want to use them, you know, this is the way to go. I'm just going to add a little extra ink there. I'm going to add, I really cut that crooked, ink on the inside here. I can't find my big scissors. I think I probably left them on my other table. All right. Okay, so now we can put this together. I think I'm not sure what kind of glue to use. There, and then I'm going to put my frame together. I'm just going to move it around a little here. Not bad, not bad, not bad. And then now I can just add my picture in. I'm going to go ahead and tape that down. His head is really close to the top of that. Nice. Okay. Okay, so there's this one with the mat on it. I'm going to quickly do the other ones, and then I will be back and we'll stick them all in the photo album. Okay, so I took a quick minute here and I just reprinted my pictures so they'd be a little bit bigger so they would fit in my frames. And those are all attached, so we're good to go here. So what we're going to do now is go ahead and add these pictures here into our photo album. There we go. There's my cute boy. He's so cute. Okay, this one here, let me see where this one here is a quintessential Pickle. He loves to, he thinks he's human. He likes to just hop up and sit at the table like a human being. So, of course, we don't let him do that, but that's on the patio, so he was kind of skirting the rules there. Okay, anyway, so here's the album. It's had plenty of time to dry. I let it dry overnight. And now we're back for actually decorating these guys. So you can do this two ways. You could decorate your frames and then put them in, or you could go ahead and just go to town and do it while they're in the book. So let's go ahead and attach these in because I think that's going to be the most fun part. I have a little piece of tape hanging out here, so I'm just going to cut that off. Okay, so basically you can decide here what you want to do. Do you want to have a picture here, just have like a graphic here, whatever? I think I'm going to just turn this into a full Pickle photo album and just put him on every single page here. I did print out pictures of the other dogs, but like I just decided why not do like a little ode to Pickle, because he's such a character. He is definitely a character in our house as well. So he is so smart, too smart for his own good. But that means we can rely on him to be the best dog, so it really helps. Even though he's also the worst dog. I think that sometimes comes hand in hand. You know, like he'll be the first to complain, but he's also the first to do what you ask, you know. So if you tell him to go out, he'll go out. You know, he does basically whatever I ask him to do. And he's always hoping for a treat. Let's see here. I just wanted to do a little bit of inking around the edges here because you know, when you glue two pieces of paper together, sometimes you just need that, you know, extra bit of like camouflage around the edges. It's not always my most favorite way to do things, but when you're making little books like this, you really need the actual extra infrastructure of the two pieces glued together if you're not going to use like a heavier, like a cereal box, or you're not going to use like a light chipboard, which is what I would use for my like hardcover journals. Okay, so let's pop in here, and like I just want to start kind of thinking about where I want to put what. You know what, though? I don't know if I want to put... Yeah. I don't know if I want to put a picture here, right when you open it. Is that weird? I don't know. One of the things I was thinking, too, though, is if you have saved all of your cuts from the other projects, they'll work lovely in here. And I was thinking these... I have 2 bins of stuff, but if you wanted to, like, one of these would look really nice in the beginning of this here. These are my plain ones. I may have used my other ones. But I also have my card sentiments over here, so, like, that's also a possibility. Here we go. For putting on here. I'm looking for one that fits more Pickle. I might have to make a custom one for him, since like all of these are kind of more like these round ones. I think these could look really nice. Yeah, so if you wanted to do that, that would be, you know, a good idea for this as well. I'm not going to do it because, you know, I'm making a Pickle album because, you know, why not, right? But there's also lots of other fussy cuts in this that you could use right here. So I think I'm going to go ahead and do that. I'll do like a collage or something right there. And then I can just like do Pickle's name or whatever on there. So I'm going to go ahead and start gluing these guys down on these pages. And that shouldn't take me too long. And then once I get that done, we'll do some decorating so that we have, you know, some fun looking little images in here. Okay, so there goes that guy. So I could probably use a glue stick here too for this. I just happen to have the regular glue on here. Like I am a little bit, I think I need to get some new glue sticks. Okay, so let me see here. What's gonna go where? Oh, here's a little puppy pick. You know what? This one might be a good one for the front, actually. I think I'm going to do that. I'm going to change my mind. I just think that maybe that other one just didn't feel like the right picture to have in the front. When he was a puppy, he would go out in the yard and he would just not listen. He was not a good listener back then. Now he's a great listener, but he would go in the, we had to put a, like one of those flashing collars on him with the little like LED light on it so that we could find him. Because at night he would just go out into the yard and just be like, no, I'm not coming back. This is him hiding in the bushes right here. He used to love to do that. One time he went in the garage and went to sleep under like a shelf. Let me tell you the panic. So that's why we got the flashing collar, because after I spent half an hour looking for him and then found him in the garage, I was like, okay, we need to put a tracker on this guy. He was our first puppy. Poppy was like a year old when we got her, so she was already pretty well behaved. All right, let's see. This is also quintessential Pickle out in the sun. My dogs are very spoiled by the beautiful weather here. We've had rain for the last couple days, and it has not been fun for them. And I was like, some dogs have snow, so... There's that guy. Maybe this one on here. I'm trying to go through this as fast as possible. I know this video is already long. I'm filming it over 2 days. So hopefully I'll be able to cut some of this down when I'm editing it. Just because I don't want it to be so horribly long that nobody wants to watch it. Go with this guy here. the ones I have all these glued in here, this will be, you know, it'll be time for the fun part. Should we go with like one that's more contrasty here? This one's not quite taped on here as well as it could be. Alright, and then I think we'll do Mr. Pickle in his Halloween costume here. When he was a puppy, he was a prisoner and Poppy was the police officer because, oh my gosh, he drove her crazy when he was a puppy. Okay, so there we go with that. I think I'm gonna go with this one here. Oh wait, no, this one. I don't know what is making me pick what. I couldn't tell you. That one. All right. Put that one right there. Okay, that's my last one, and then I have these two to fit on here. I think I'm gonna go like that. And this is my last one. All right, look at that. Boom. All right, so I got this pretty full. And all the pictures are in here. Okay, so let's talk about how we are going to decorate this. Okay, so in the kit, you have a ton of fussy cuts. And as I mentioned before, I did cut some, like some greenery out. I'm not crazy about this color. It's a little bit, I think that's a little bit over the top. For this, like this is a pretty like muted toned down color palette. And I did have some of these left over from my Halloween project. So some of these are ones that I had already made. These ones that have the like ink on them were from Halloween. And so basically all I'm going to do here is just kind of look through what I have and see what I want to add to this to kind of jazz up some of these little photos here, just with a little bit of festiveness to them. I also pulled out some random like fibers here. Like this is just all different kinds of ribbon in green. So I grabbed that as well. And then I thought I could maybe incorporate some of these guys too. Just kind of depending. And just make it look extra festive. You know what I mean? And then use one of these down here. And then I also got some of the thread that I used for sewing because I thought I could mix that in there too. It's nice if you have something that's super long like this one. There's like a little, I need my, I think my pokey tool is in there. Just get my tweezers here and poke out the little holes here. I'm going to go ahead and add some brown ink to this because That way it'll give it a little extra depth and it won't make it look so flat, you know, when it's on the page. I got that. All right, let's see here. So I think I might start with this one on the bottom. I'm going to just trim off the end of the stem because it's so long. I love doing this kind of stuff. Like, I feel like it adds a lot to the pages, and I think it'll make it a really fun album to like look through as well. So I'm just going to put a little bit of glue on the back here. And I'm just going to put that right on the edge. I'm thinking I'm going to just tone this one down by just taking off the side pieces so that this is more of a straight stem. And then it's not so overwhelmingly sparkly. But I mean, it is like a holiday situation, so I don't so much mind having a little bit of shimmer in there. Okay, so what we want to do too is add a little bit of some kind of fiber in there to give it like a little bit of a lift as well. I have this like kind of neutral, yikes, I don't know what that was that just hit the ground. So I have a little bit of this fuzzy stuff too, which I thought maybe I could put a little bit of this in here along with, let me see how this looks. Maybe it needs to be green. I'm not sure. Let's get some thread to go with this. I think I'm just going to go with the thread because I don't like that's too much thickness there. Okay, these are the ones that are from, I think these are the ones from the explosion box that I'm looking at right now. Oh, I forgot I had that. That's just a little bit of green mummy claw. Maybe we should do a bow on here. Oh no. Feeling maybe a circle is actually better. I thought I had 2 of those. All right, let's go ahead and do that. I'm going to use a little Fabri-Tac here so that I don't have to use the wet glue. And then also I have like all the thread and stuff here. Hold that down. This one I cut out of, I think I'm going to go for, probably not that. Let's see. I'm going to skip around a little bit here. I think we could use a little bit of glue right there, though, because that's not staying down. Just to do a bunch of different, like, little things, you know. I also have, like, a couple little scraps in here. I have some encyclopedia paper, which you can always use, like, a text paper or what have you. Oh, and I made a little bow, but I don't know what I did with it. When I was, like, messing around on the sewing machine, I sewed a couple of bows, but I may have left them on the sewing machine. All right, so I've got this here, which is my, just a little bit of decayed left over from, what do you call it? Halloween. Let's see what we can do here with this. One of the things I really like doing is like a little strip collage, you know? I think it looks really cute, and it's a really good way to use up all your scraps. I mean, this is a scrap from like one of my, you know, one of the pages that I cut out. And like, what could you use this for other than just like a little strip collage? So the way that I usually do that is just to stack a bunch of strips on top of each other like this and make a little cluster. I'm wondering if I can rip this. It's pretty narrow, but I might be able to. Let's do a little bit of ink on that. And then also have a little bit of thread, which I can include on that whole strip situation. So if I want to do this with this on top of it, put my strip of this on top of that, and then I'll do a little bit of the thread. What I'm going to do when I'm done with this is I'm going to cut the ends of it, you know. I could also put that on there, I think. And then that can just go right on the edge of a page. I have a whole bunch of my offcuts over here. Oh, a bunch of these are from Ledger. Let's see if I got any from this kit. So I can grab those and get that done. Okay, so I'm going to rip this off right here. I'm going to ink around the edge of the paper. I need to add a little extra glue for this thread because the glue stick's not going to work great for that. Right, and then I got this guy here. And that's just going to go on this. I'm going to go ahead and trim off my thread too. I'm going to trim this one kind of shortish. And this one I'll just leave a little bit so it can hang off the edge. And like you could pre-make these. You could like just sit with your scraps and just make little stacks. And then they would be ready to go for like wherever you wanted to use them. For this, I did die cut out of some of my scraps. If you like those little mini die cutters too, like are perfect for that job because you can just kind of sit here and like just cut them, you know, and you know, it takes like 2 seconds because sometimes I'm like, oh, die cutting, do I have to get the die cutter out, you know, and all that, but it's really not that big of a pain. It's, you know, it's just like a 1-2 thing, and then all of a sudden you have some really pretty little embellishments for your projects. I'm going to trim these guys off so I can have some little ones. I thought it would be cute to maybe have a little one off the corner here, like that. And then, let's see. I definitely need my scraps now. I'm going to make another little one here using this. And then if you want to, you can kind of rough up your edges on these. I already lost my paper distresser. I had it here, and of course I lost it. So I'm just going to use my scissors. This is a little bit more of a dangerous game. But if you want to make something look ripped that's not ripped, this is the way to go. I've been trying to use the paper distresser more. And then you can just, I'm not sure how long I want to have this. So I was thinking of making another one, just go right across the bottom here. Right, now I'm just going to get myself like a shred of this paper. Unless I have one, which I don't think I do. Okay. This is why my desk is always a mess in like 3 seconds. So let's go ahead and add some stuff to this here so it's less boring. I also saved a bunch of stuff from last month's project, the Dark Diary project. I think that's what these are from. So I have these like little squares that are left over from that project. Possibly that project. I think it's that project. So that, you know, so these would be a potential like thing for me to rip up. Just to put on there. This is the kind of stuff I could make all day. On there, so I want this to kind of be the corner piece here. There we go. Just be careful with that. If you're like gluing thread onto the back of these, just be careful because you kind of have to give it extra pressure so that it doesn't come apart, or extra glue, one or the other. So yeah, so this is the problem with junk journaling, is that you could make use of something this tiny. And that like sometimes feels dangerous to me because I'm like, oh, I should save that because I can use it, because I know I can use it, but should I save that? Because it's that tiny. And then you can quickly end up with an overwhelming number of really tiny scraps. I was going to see what else I could create with this little bit. Since I have it here, and I do have these like little tiny circles that these are from the first week. Always keep everything and repurpose your little project scraps. Once you're done with the project, you may want to reconsider that, but like if you're in the middle of a project, I would definitely save all the pieces that you cut out. You don't have to save all your like offcuts and stuff like that. I would just save the pieces that you actually cut out. Okay, here we go. I can cut that and make like a little, you know, tiny medallion type situation here. I really want to staple this, but I don't think it will look good if I do. I'm wondering about adding some of that to it. This is a lot altogether, especially with the glitter, you know. So now I just have to figure out what I want to do with this. I think I'm going to cut this. Having this extra greenery is really nice because fussy cutting this stuff would be really not fun. I know some of you guys out there are amazing. But I'm not amazing with the fussy cutting. I'll do it, you know, but I'm not always like as precise, say, as the, what do you call it? The die cutter could be, you know. This does not want to stick on here because of the fabric and the glitter. So we're going to have to go to another solution here. And just use the Fabri-Tac. It's so thick. Okay. Just make sure that these are sticking out. Okay, so now I just can find me a place to put this. I think that could work right there. I'm going to go ahead and just use this again because the back of this is kind of really thick. I think it would work fine if I use the other glue, but I don't want to sit here and hold it for a long time. Okay. So you can just go through and kind of grab your pieces here and just add them in wherever you feel like they could go. Let's see here. His face is too close to that one. You could cut these in half too, realistically, because they are kind of fat. When I do this, I do like to use the paper cutter for this, just to get it so it has a straight edge. It doesn't, the cut itself doesn't necessarily have to be like completely straight, but if it has a nice straight edge, and now I have this here. I'm going to go ahead and trim this at the top, just because that has that one like awkward piece of leaf. And then I can add this here, right here like this, and it just, you know, that was too big together, but alone it's fine. So we're doing like multi-level decorating here. Like this one I had sewed the lace on with the sewing machine, but you could just as easily glue that on there. I was just playing around with that to see how, you know, to see all the, like, you know, just the different things I could sew to the paper. And, okay, so there's this. You could also add, that's a lot. I think we're gonna have to cut this. I'm gonna try cutting this in half and see what happens. Let's see if I like it. Apologies if you can hear people playing video games. My kids are playing video games right now. Usually I film at night when people are asleep, but last night, like, I ran out of time. Alright, so now I have two pieces here. If we used it this way, because you could just put this on here as like a single embellishment if you wanted to. I think I'm going to use it as like a base embellishment. All right, so let's see. Let's get this to the size I want it. So I'm going to cut it right about there. Just one more little bit off. All right, now we're going to put some glue on the back of this. Okay. I'm going to glue the straight edge to the straight edge. There we go. And let's see what we can add to this as well. I think I want something, let's see here. I might cut this one down to fit. So the message here is do not be afraid to cut stuff up, because that's, you know, kind of the beauty of this whole situation. If you cut it up, you can kind of reimagine how it's going to be used on here. Okay, so I'm just going to cut it right where the orange is. And all I wanted to have was just like a nice right angle there so that it would go right on the corner of the page. And then what we'll do is we'll just add some stuff behind it. I have a little bit of this left. Could use that. You could also have done like vertical layering here. I do want this to lay flat though. Doesn't really want to. Oh, I think this is good here. So basically what I'm looking for is just a little bit of an overhang on the straight side and the top. There we go. All right, and then I'm deciding if I want to do like some of the extra greenery as well. This could be a good one for us. And this part, if you don't want to do the extra decorating, I think you could just get away with putting all the photos in and putting in a little nice message in the front, and you'd be in good shape. I think. No, I just wanted to make sure that okay, it doesn't pop out. All right. Oh, that's the wrong side. All right, let's do that. Okay, so the first thing we're going to do is glue down the long one. Okay, and then we'll do this guy here. I just need to get my placement on this. So this is going to go right about there. And then I have my holly leaves here. I'm trying to decide which way of these guys will look the best. Probably like that. Okay, so we're gonna go like just about a little ways up from the bottom. And then I'm gonna add my final piece on here. Okay, that's quite thick. I'm just gonna grab a bulldog clip here out of the drawer and clip that guy down so that it has a chance to dry. So hopefully this is giving you guys a good idea of what you can do to kind of just to decorate this a little bit. For this one here, I'm just going to go ahead and right angle the side of this particular fussy cut so that it fits on the corner nicely. Now you could also do this like on the page, like if you want to just glue it down and then cut it, flip it over and cut it, you could do that as well. And then you would be able to use the page as the guide, and it might be a little bit easier. But this one I'm just going to glue down the fussy cut just as an example of, you know, like if you wanted to make multiples, if you didn't have like, you know, a bajillion hours to do this, you could still just go through and add in fussy cuts on all the pages. Just, you know, just a couple, like, or actually just if you just cut a couple down and then, you know, just went in and went through, you could just add those on there pretty easily. And it would still look nice. You know, just go ahead and ink the edges so they look finished. And then, you know, you can add them in and they'll look really, really cute. Like that looks really cute on there. That's probably too much if I... That's another thing you could do, is cut it in half and put half and half, you know, on here, just to give it a little bit of extra. Let's do that on this one here. Let's get a nice... That one. Ooh, this is a good one. All right, so I'm going to cut this one in half. And then what we'll do is we'll put half on the one side and half on the other side. Let's just go ahead and try to go right down the middle here. Okay, so what I'm trying to do with this one here is have one piece with, you know, a good amount of the dangling part on it. And then this piece, oh, actually that's going to be really long, huh? Let's go ahead and cut that so that it's not quite so long, because then it'll look weird. So we can just do that right there. And glue that. I'm going to ink it so that it has a little bit of, you know, so it looks nice on the edge. And that'll be that side. And if you have any like sharp pieces like that, you can just trim those down. Okay, because this is going to be my this side piece. Oh, I could do it like this too, huh? Alright, so I think I'll cut this one. I'm going to try to cut it just below the orange here and see how that looks, because I kind of wanted to get the orange on there. Okay, so ink that guy. I really do think inking takes this from I cut this out to I made this, you know what I mean? It just helps a lot with the aesthetics of everything. I'm gonna add oh, I don't know, maybe I won't. I was thinking about adding a little bit of thread here, but I don't think I'm going to. All right, I think I'm just gonna glue these guys on there without anything underneath it, because I think it's probably enough just to have the fussy cuts on this one. I have so much glue on my fingers right now. Alright, rub that here. Is that the edge? Oh, he's such a cutie pie. Okay. And you may not want to like go to town on every single page because that's a lot, you know, so just to kind of balance out your book, you could just do some simple embellishments on some pages, and then you can do some more like intricate ones on other pages. I did also cut these out of these are fussy cuts, die cuts that I also cut out of that extra paper that I printed out by accident, because I figured why not figure out a way to use that. I think there's a smaller one. I wonder if that'll fit on here. That might be it. Oh, wait, is this the smaller one? Oh, it's... I think what I could do here is just cut this so it looks like it ends right there. I'm just going to kind of cut it so that it ends in a point. There we go, like that. And then I could just include this right here as well. This is kind of like how I like to decorate. Instead of doing like a full page, which I know probably doesn't make sense, but just to keep flipping through and just kind of adding things wherever I see a spot that could use something, you know? Just a little bit of glue there. And then if you wanted, we could, let's see, we could find, oh, what do I have in here? Because these are the fussy cuts from the explosion box. Sorry. I just feel like an orange slice would look so cute there, but I need to find one that's like small. And you'll know I don't do small very often, so I don't think I did a lot of small fussy cuts for that one. Oh, here's a little piece of, here's an anise. Because this picture has like all grass right here in this bottom corner, that kind of lends itself to this kind of situation. Alright, so let me ink this guy up. Oh, wait. I also have my card kit ones over here. Oh, there's definitely smaller ones in there. And also a giant one. So yeah, so you guys should have tons of stuff at this point. Sorry about that. So hopefully it's you can find what you need to decorate this within this kit or within one of the other kits. I'm gonna have that cradle that there. I probably should have inked that a little bit. Oh, I feel like that's too big. Ooh, I have a rose. No. think I might try this round one instead. I want to make sure that edge gets good and inked on this. I could put a little something behind it too, just to kind of help fill that space a little. Yeah, let's do that. And then glue this down. I think all in all, not too bad there. Okay, so I'm going to put those guys in there. All right, what do you guys think? I think that's pretty good for today. I don't want to like bore the pants off of you all. So I know that if you're still here, you're one of the few diehards. So I appreciate that. I just wanted to give you guys some little bits and pieces of, you know, decorating sort of ideas and stuff like that. So I hope that you enjoyed this project. I hope that you will find it useful, and whether you make it for yourself or for somebody else, I hope you can fill it with some happy memories. You don't need to use pictures. You could use poems or quotes or whatever you like to fill the little spots in here. I think it would be really beautiful. You know, this is from the first one, the explosion box, and you could write on these if you wanted to. There's lots of, like, there's that Irish blessing in that one as well. That would look nice in here too. So kind of, you could kind of mix it up in terms of what you want to put in it. If you don't, or if you know, you could make it like a little memory book for the year, one picture for every month or something like that. So that's also an option. So hopefully you guys had fun with this, as much fun as I did. And I hope you will be back next week for this is going to be our final November project, if you can believe it. I cannot. So this will be our last one of these giftable projects will be next week. So hopefully you'll have plenty of time to get any of these done that you need to for any gifts you might want to give for any sort of holiday that is coming up. And I will see you. Oh, please like the video and subscribe if you haven't already. And I will see you next week with another video. Thank you so much for joining me.